Our comic addresses the health issues of body image, specifically highlighting the unrealistic and negative impacts that the media has on society's standards of beauty. Our target audience is 20-year-old males and females. In the first box, we see Jane and John, both 20 years old, getting ready for a date night. Each is looking in the mirror, unconfident and insecure about their appearance. What they see in the mirror is extremely distorted. Jan sees herself as overweight despite her slender figure, and John sees himself as scrawny and thin despite his normal, healthy build. In the second panel, Jan and John meet for their date night, and John points out that the restaurant is a few blocks away. As they walk to the restaurant, however, Jan and John cannot stop looking at the ads that surround them, displaying the concept of body ideals. Jan notices that the ads in the store's displays features women that are full and thin, toned models, while John notices that the ads with the men are all featured six-packs, bulging biceps, and muscular arms. In panel 3, we see these images of body ideals as set by the media stay in the minds of John and Jan as they go to dinner and are heavily influenced by what they order. Jan decides that she will have only a salad without cheese and the dressing on the sign, to limit the amount of fat that she ingests. John orders a steak but decides to double up on the order so that he can start to bulk up and become bigger. That night, Jan and John each go home and weigh themselves and cannot stop thinking about their respective appearances. Panel 4 shows at the point at which both Jan and John begin to become obsessive with the scale, a symbol of their weight and appearance. Jan decides after weighing herself that she is too fat, and John decides that he is too thin. She thinks, the number I see on the scale is too high. He thinks, the number I see on the scale is too low. Already both John and Jan are becoming fixated on the idea that their weight reflects their self-worth. Panel 5 shows that John and Jan are becoming overwhelmingly obsessed with their weight, represented by the numbers that surround them as they seem to fall backwards into a pit. This represents them becoming consumed by the idea that they must be thin or buff to be considered beautiful. The quotes in the panel reflect how this obsession with the numbers is impacting their mental and social well-being. With the quote, I think I'll stay home tonight, don't want to be tempted by junk food, I know I will be. We see that Jan and John are starting to withdraw and isolate themselves from social situations in order to further control their diets. They respectively tell themselves, need to lose weight, need to gain weight, and why can't I just look like those models? Nearly doubling over from the internal pressures they have placed on themselves. This panel thus shows how unhealthy body image can lead to other mental health issues, such as social anxiety and generalized anxiety. Panel 6 shows how John and Jan, fixated on their weight, ultimately negative impacts their health, physical and mental and emotional well-being. This panel reflects how unhealthy body image may also lead to depression, low sense of self-worth, and low self-esteem. John and Jan, however, at one point notice that the state of each other and become alarmed. The idea of losing or gaining weight to achieve a certain standard of beauty has consumed each of them and changed them as people. They ask each other, how did you get like this? How did we get like this? They decide that something needs to change. Panel 7 represents the conscious effect that Jan and Jane make to battle their unhealthy body image, realizing that their sense of beauty was completely dictated by what the media projected onto them. This realization is represented by a fist punching a hole through an ad. The ad is torn down the middle and Jan and John walk through, leaving the ad and its standards of beauty behind. The side of the panel reads, We are fed these standards of beauty by the media. Thinness is glamorized in women and bulging muscles are portrayed as the ultimate sign of masculinity. But what if we reclaimed the idea of what makes a person beautiful? John and Jan are now empowered to reclaim their sense of self-worth and self-esteem by their own standards rather than those of the media. Panel 8 shows John and Jan looking at each other and telling each other all the things they believe. makes the other person beautiful. These include characteristics such as intelligence, humor, kindness, loyalty, and honesty. John and Jan have come to the ultimate conclusion that we want our readers to come to. You are so much more than a number.